Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a Kentucky politician officially enters the Senate race here in Kentucky, and a big change is made to the unemployment system, possibly reducing the number of fraudulent claims.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Well, good morning to you at 6 o'clock, and it's Thursday. I'm Dakota Makris. Thank you so much for waking up with us, as always. And if you're heading out the door, it's cold, so you better bundle up. Let's head over to Brandon for a look at that forecast. Brandon, it's foggy. We've mentioned that. And even maybe some frost. Some people are seeing some frost. So I feel like winter's here, even though it's still fall. Yeah. In my head, it's cold enough it's winter.
Well, here's the thing. Right now, it is winter, but as we go into early next week, we're going back to fall. So we're going to be back in the 60s, lots of sunshine. So it's going to be a nice trend for this time of the year, but just not a nice morning today. Let's take a look at I-75 at Corbin. Traffic moving along there pretty well as we head out the door. Not much fog down that way this morning, but I do suspect there are some clouds right there along the Kentucky, Virginia, and Tennessee borders. I believe that's why Jacksboro, Middlesboro, and Jonesboro are so much warmer than the rest of us. Pikeville just dropped to 29 live on the air, 32 over in Wise, 28 Hazard, 28 Somerset, 22 in Irvin is our cold spot this morning. So again, just kind of keep that in mind. Grab all the coffee you can carry this morning because it is going to be a very cold start to this day. 62 is the average high for this time of the year. 51 is the forecast high. 82 the record set back on this day in 2003. Dakota?
All right, Brandon, thank you. A former city sewer worker in Kentucky is now convicted of murder and other charges in a crash that killed a Louisville police officer in 2018. Roger Burdett was found guilty of wanton murder, DUI, and 4 charges of wanton endangerment. The jury was convinced he was under the influence of pills and was watching a pornographic video when he crashed into Deidre Mingadot's vehicle on I-64, killing her. One East Tennessee man is in jail facing serious charges. Bell County deputies received a call about a man trying to meet up with an underage girl to have sex. Police arrested 39-year-old Dale Crow of Tennessee. Deputies say Crow admitted that he was in the area to meet with the underage girl. He is being held at the Bell County Detention Center. Documents were requested from the Kentucky Department of Education show Hazard High School principal and city mayor Happy Mambolini did not tell state officials he was involved in a lawsuit brought by a former student when he renewed his teaching license in 2020. I looked into how investigations like these are handled and what role the Educational Professional Standards Board plays. The EPSB, or the Educational Professional Standards Board, handles investigations and prosecutes cases involving educator misconduct.
EPSB determines whether matters are referred for investigation as a result of complaints that are filed against certified educators.
A spokesperson for the Kentucky Department of Education says the board's authority is set under state law,
which basically we refer to as the Professional Code of Ethics for Kentucky's certified school personnel. They have due process rights when it comes to potential actions that may be taken against their teaching certificate.
If the EPSB receives a complaint of educator misconduct, a few steps will happen.
They will determine whether that complaint is referred for investigation. The investigation will take place. There is not really a certain set of time limits.
The board holds public meetings every other month. Whenever a decision is made on an investigation, it is voted on publicly.
Could it be at risk of not ever teaching again or being suspended? So it is potentially a serious case if you are a teacher and/or an educator.
All applicants for initial certification and renewal are required to submit a character and fitness portion of the application. The person is asked questions about past convictions or disciplinary actions.
If an applicant fails to answer the questions truthfully, the EPSB has the ability to take action against the educator's certificate.
The 2019 lawsuit alleges a student was sexually assaulted on a class trip in 2017. Mambolini and 2 teachers are named in the suit, which accuses them of negligent supervision as the trip's chaperones. In Hazard, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News. Now, we reached out to Mayor Happy Mambolini earlier this week, and he said he would not like to comment at this time. Hazard Independent Schools Superintendent Sandra Combs also said she cannot comment on the investigation. All of this came to light after the man pageant viral photo controversy last week during homecoming activities. Charles Booker is officially running for U.S. Senate next year. If he wins the Democratic primary, he'll be facing Senator Rand Paul in the November election. Wednesday was the first day of qualifying for the 2022 election. Booker ran for Senate last year but lost against Amy McGrath in the Democratic primary. He was formerly a state representative in Louisville. He says he's running as a normal person, not someone who has been in politics their whole life.
A lot of people have checked out on the political process, and they're justified in doing that. So my story, I don't come from politics. I don't do this out of seeking a title. This is survival for me. People know that when I show up, I really care about them, and that transcends party.
The general election next year is scheduled for November 8th. Republicans won in all 3 of Kentucky's special elections Tuesday. Dr. Donald Douglas will file the vacancy left by State Senator Tom Buford, who died earlier this year. Douglas defeated Democrat Helen Buclamez. Now Michael Pollock will fill Representative Bam Carney's seat in House District 51. Carney also died earlier this year. Pollock won over Eddie Rogers. In our area, Timmy Truitt defeated May Suramek to take over for Representative Robert Goforth, who resigned. The State Board of Elections still has to certify the results. Governor Andy Beshear says Kentucky's record-setting pace for economic development growth surpassed $10 billion in the private sector this year. The governor says the amount includes new location announcements and expansion projects. He also says those investments led to more than 15,200 full-time jobs being announced. The automotive industry has been the top sector for job investment and creation so far this year. Today, a third-party identification vendor is becoming the point of entry for unemployment insurance claims. WYMT's Jade Saylor spoke with the executive director at the Kentucky Office of Unemployment Insurance about how the new system will work.
New ID requirements for unemployment insurance claimants is coming to Kentucky.
ID.me is a third-party certified verification system.
Kentucky has been using ID.me since June.
Up until now, ID.me has been in the middle of someone's claim where they are verifying their identification. All we're doing as of November the 4th, tomorrow, is moving it to the very front of that before you even go into the claim.
Starting November 4th, all unemployment claims will be required to register for an account with ID.me to access their claim.
We're trying to, again, look at ways that we can minimize fraud efforts into our system.
The hope is that this will allow unemployment officials to focus on assisting Kentuckians with legitimate claims.
We know that since September, we've pushed through around 126,000 through ID.me. And we know 112,000 of those did not get verified.
ID.me will also protect taxpayers and fight international and domestic fraud rings.
It either forces the individual, and I mean that in a good way, to verify who they are so we can move them forward, or it allows us to know that that's a potential fraudulent claim that is backlogging our system.
ID.me is currently being used by more than 24 other states. Jade Saylor, WYMT, Mountain News.
Now, people can schedule an in-person or phone appointment at any regional Kentucky Career Center office, regardless of their location.
Some patchy dense fog out there this morning at 6:08. We're going to continue to watch that as we head to the next little bit. Remember, anything less than 5 miles on this map is no good, so just kind of keep that in mind as you head to the first part of your day. You can kind of see where the clouds are and the clouds are not. 22 in Irvin, but 39 in Jacksboro this morning. You see that little patch of green there indicating some warmer temperatures down into parts of East Tennessee. That moisture that we talked about that could have impacted us with some snowflakes in the higher elevations actually skirted to our south. Frost this morning giving way to mostly sunny skies, maybe a few more clouds in those southern counties. 51 a daytime high. As we look ahead, slow climb thanks to high pressure and sunshine, but a nice weekend is on the way. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you, and thank you for joining us. The time is 6:09. More news is on the way. The Justice Department is determined to give out the harshest punishment possible to the man involved in the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol.